1 Samuel 12 verse 1. We're looking at the handover now between Samuel and Saul, the first king of Israel. And in verse 1 it says, "And Samuel said unto all Israel, Behold, I've listened to your voice in everything that you said to me, and I have made a king over you." When they first chose the king, it was during a time of national crisis. There was crisis from without, the encroachments of the Philistines. There was crisis from within. Samuel was getting on a bit, and they were worried about his sons. They weren't really up to the mark, so they had a leadership crisis. And the crisis was really handled and averted by one man's wisdom, and that was Samuel. He didn't manage the best conceivable, but he managed the best possible. The conceivable best was that there would be no crisis, and that God would be the ruler of the state through his prophet. But that wasn't to be, and maybe the best would be that there wasn't a crisis, just a handling of these serious issues and a resolution of them within. But the second best was that the crisis should be handled as wisely as possible, and Samuel should still control the destinies of the country while the king was chosen. So that's what happened. It's like imagine if you're whitewater rafting, right, and you're just coming down into your first sequence of which I have absolutely no knowledge at all, but plenty of imagination. You're just coming through into the rapids, and then there's a big fall in front of you, and it's too late to paddle furiously to the side and get into shelter, so you're going down. So all you can do then is hold on and lean onto the secure hand of the guide holding the tiller, who is going to direct you through the storm. And that's my picture of Samuel, the firm hand at the tiller at the back. And so they go madly over the precipice, but they go firmly, steadily. Okay. But in the course of going down, Samuel is superseded, and it's by their demand for a king. They even say, like the other nations. We don't have a king to lead us into war like the other nations. And Samuel's point was always, we don't want to be like the other nations. He tells them what having a king would involve, but they just are relentless. They want to have their king. So how does Samuel react? This is the point. It's really interesting. And it's told in a sequence of little stories, and he picks out for them this man who stands head and shoulders above the rest, Saul, and they accept Saul as their king, and the people have been dismissed, and Samuel's left on his own, thinking it through at a vital point here between chapter 9 and 10 maybe. It's like it'd been terrible for him. It's like life had pulled the carpet from under him. All his hold on events was being threatened, and his whole purpose and sense of destiny from when he was a boy was all of a sudden been thrown into disarray, and he's standing there. What do you think he's thinking? These fickle people, how dare they? The feelings of disloyalty. He's aggrieved. His pride in himself is deflated. He feels maybe worthless or unvalued, or at least undervalued. Nobody appreciates me. Pearls before swine, Jesus said. Don't cast your pearls before swine. How dare they treat me so? And then maybe he's thinking a little bit more seriously than that, because he was a good man. He's one of the giants of the Old Testament, Samuel. And maybe he's thinking how trivial it is to have human aims and human ambitions. God is in charge. I've got my 15 minutes of fame, and then it's gone. But there's two thoughts that come to calm him down. And the first is the identification with God's cause. Okay, he was feeling, and God put this into his mind. God said, they have not rejected you, they've rejected me. So you see, if it was just wounded pride or pique or ambition that had been disappointed, then well, nothing left but to retreat into the sulks. But it's more than that. He had a sense of being part of God's cause, and that lifted him out of being part of his own cause. This isn't the Samuel show. This is the God show, right? This whole business where you've been disappointed, where you've been hurt or trodden on or superseded and bypassed, it's not the you show, the Truman show. You are not centre stage. God is. And if you hold on to centre stage, then you just start to look ridiculous. But if God is centre stage, then you can step to one side and allow it. Look, they have not rejected you. They have rejected me. Now there's a danger there, isn't it? The kind of religious superstar danger. You think, I have been rejected. They are rejecting God. And every time somebody does something mean to you, you think, they have rejected God. I'm not talking about that. This is a specific circumstance, right? I'm talking about Christian leadership and bearing the brunt of it onto yourself, but realizing that you are standing in God's corner. You're standing for God. And so the things, the weapons that are fashioned against you have been fashioned against him. The second thing that calms him down is that he feels God's heart beating with him. Because he is standing in God's corner, he is celebrating God's cause, and because of that, he can move on and find victory even in the midst of this apparent human defeat. Let's leave it there for the moment. God bless.